Hey YouTube, Coppersan here. Oh boy, it's time for another tier list. Like always, these are based on recent balance changes and my own opinion of the class. There is no DPS chart whatsoever, and my own opinion is in turn based on the classes, their mobbing, bossing, mobility, and how easy they are to play. Keep in mind that I have multiple characters at level 250 and in the 220 range, but I have no endgame experience with these classes. And even though I might rate a class lower than others, any class is viable in the game at the moment. With that said, let's get started, in no particular order. Let's start with a double S tier class. And who better to start with than Bishop? This class is in a great spot right now for those Maplers looking to offer support while dealing damage. It has the best supportive skills in the game with enough funding, it has great mobbing, and they get a large EXP boost thanks to their own holy symbol skill. Bishop won't deal the most damage in a boss fight, it isn't a great solo bossing mule, but it's a must-have in any mid to late game bossing party. Let's go down a notch. I'm putting Dual Blade in S tier. This class has it all, except that its mobbing is pretty terrible to level 200 and not that great until you get to the really high level maps. They have great passives and are a great bosser with a good kit that has a lot of damage and safety, so S tier for me. I'm putting Ark in A tier. Ark got some really nice buffs with the Savior update, making him a bit stronger, and he definitely needed that. Once he was regarded as one of the strongest classes in the game, but he has been quite lackluster compared to the Explorers and the Knight of Sickness after their revamps. Ark's skills move you around a lot, which requires you to animation cancel them to stop the movement, or as a pro Ark player you use that movement to your advantage, but the class requires more practice, mobbing doesn't feel too great when you aren't transformed, and it isn't an easy to pick up bossing mule, but still it's in a better spot than before. Okay, so which mains are going to leave mad comments in the comment section first? Because I'm gonna put them in B tier, let's see. I'm putting Evan there. This class got some amazing buffs with the Savior update, making him a lot stronger. But it's still Evan. You have to press so many buttons to get your combos off. Evan players really need to know their bossing and grinding rotations well, and messing it up can cost you a chunk of your damage. Evan is just too unforgiving, even though he is stronger now. Going back to the top, Bowmaster, you've changed. Easy bossing, easy mobbing, this class is in a great spot right now. Thanks to their passive healing and safety bossing, it's super simple to play with them. And so is mobbing, whether you just jump attack or stand still and rotate between your 50-up skills. Solid and easy bossing mule or main. I'm putting Erin in S tier. The recent buffs and changes made her easier to play. She's a great all-rounder with plenty of tools and mobility. She no longer needs to link her attacks together all the time when you're grinding, and no longer needs to use her basic attack between combos. She doesn't do anything exceptionally well, but she's just really solid all around the board. It's a great class to pick up for newer players as well, with all her passive healing and invincibility frames. I'm putting my main Shade in A tier. Shade has super chill mobbing, great mobility, survivability, not that many buttons to press, and can add some great debuffs to your bossing fights. But damage wise, it just isn't the greatest. Shade's mobbing got buffed a few months ago, and that's not really an issue anymore. It's mostly just the boss damage that's lacking. So unless you're looking to support your party, there are better options for bossing mules. Still main Shade though, it's a great class. I'm putting Mechanic in B tier, mostly because most Maplestory Global players are in the Reboot server, and the class just really struggles there unless it gets a ton of funding. The robot summons just don't deal enough damage until they get properly boosted with your nodes and stats. Mechanic also requires more setup for bosses, which is also a downside, but once the monster formula changes with the new age update at the end of this year, I might rate this class higher. They also have great support for bossing, by the way. And just to get it over with, Jet is going into the D tier because D stands for deleted. Another great class worthy of the SS tier is Dawn Warrior. Ever since Ignition, this class has been popping off, and for good reasons. Great damage, super easy mobbing, multiple invincibility frames, their own bind, great bossing, and they have a very powerful debuff to add as well. A great class to main or to use as a bossing wheel, it just doesn't do anything wrong. Another class that has gotten a ton of buffs with the Savior update is Mercedes. She's in the best spot she has been in years, actually ever I think. Over the last year her Leaf Tornado skill was changed, so it can be used much closer to the ground. She has more defensive options now, and has gotten the powerful debuff that makes monsters untouchable, meaning that they no longer deal touch damage, which is super useful in endgame boss fights. Reason why she's only in S tier is because she has a higher 50-up node requirement, and you need to practice her skill combos before she really becomes unstoppable. This time around I'm putting Demon Slayer in A. This class is still as solid as ever and has been made easier to play after the Savior update, no longer requiring the additional regular attack for more damage. It has plenty of safety and mobility, it does have a higher node requirement before it really starts popping off, but can also have some amazing lazy farming with their teleport skill. I think that right now there are just other classes that slightly outshine him, but overall a very solid pick for any main or bossing mule. I'm once again putting Phantom in B tier. Phantom is kinda cracked in Maplestory Korea, but our balance is slightly different with the different attack speeds, so it isn't super cracked over here. But because of that, Maplestory Korea isn't really buffing the class, so it's been pretty still for Phantom this update and for the most recent updates. They have a higher funding requirement, and I think their mobbing gets outshined by most other classes, mainly because its own skills are just so-so, and stolen skills lack passive advantages. Phantom does have crazy utility though, and is great to bring to a boss fight. Because of that, they can steal heal, buffs, you name it. Usually defensive or supportive classes don't deal a lot of damage, and this is definitely the case for Mihail, but this class is so broken when it comes to defense that the lack in raw damage doesn't even matter that much anymore for him. You'll need to know the boss mechanics for this class to really to shine when you need to proc your counter, but once you do, this game is basically done. It's basically easy mode from there on out. It hasn't the fastest solo bossing times, but who needs damage when the boss just can't seem to hit you? His mobbing is also great, and even though we got a bit nerfed in the Savior update, this class is still double S tier for me. Another S class is the Explorer Ice Lightning Mage. Insane mobbing, they can slow bosses that move around too much, and they have solid burst. The only thing that I dislike is that their invincibility frame is also their bind, and they lost a bit of final damage this update, like every other mage class, due to a common 5th job skill nerf. But this is still an amazing class if you like mobbing, and a decent class if you want a teleporting class as a bossing mule. Pathfinder has been doing pretty good with recent updates. They've got some solid changes with this update as well. With Savior, they have a new skill that helps them manage their curse. That and her additional buffs like getting more final damage and more normal monster damage has made me put her in A tier. Her mobbing is super easy and pretty strong. She does lack a little bit of burst, even though not that much anymore these days, but the recent changes just made her even better to play with and to boss with. I'm putting Wild Hunter in B tier. The change they can use their mobbing skill when moving is so good, thank you so much Savior update for that, and they have a very interesting Legion effect that increases damage. But besides that, I can't really find anything that I particularly liked or about the class that's particularly amazing. Its mobility was one of its main selling points when it was first released, but nowadays it isn't really that special anymore. It's also a class that requires more micromanagement, which a lot of Maplers don't seem to like, and me neither, so I'm putting it in B. You know what this list needs? More double S classes, so let's do 2 at a time. Both Night Walker and Night Lord got buffed the Savior update. They already were great, and now they're even better. Night Walker will, for me at least, always have the edge over Night Lord due to their defensive options, which I need more because I don't have hands. Both classes do require a bit more funding and nodes before they really start to shine, but once they hit that sweet spot, they're absolutely amazing. And their bossing, of course, is absolutely amazing as well. They have a ton of damage dish out. Can't go wrong with these classes. There's a bit of a higher node and funding requirement compared to some of the other classes on this list, but they're just so powerful. I'm putting Paladin in S tier. Amazing defensive options and support, but not as crazy as Mihail. I feel like Paladin can dish out more damage than Mihail, but it also isn't like super amazing. They're a great class to boss with and are fun bossing mules if you don't want to think too much while bossing. Even though they aren't as strong as most other S tier classes, they just ignore the boss half of the fight, which is just super chill to play as when you just got home from work. I'm putting the GOAT Lara in A tier. She has amazing mobbing and her bossing is interesting as she can use her summon to boss, unless if the boss is too mobile. She has solid burst and supportive skills. She just doesn't deal that much damage, but like everyone else in A tier, she's super solid and a great class to main in my opinion. I love playing Cadena, but I am putting her in B tier. Main reason is because she is just so hard to master and got a small nerf with the Savior update. She has a lot of skills and thus the need for more nodes. Her grinding and bossing is a lot of work with little room for error, so only play her if she really interests you. Damage wise though, she is absolutely solid. We have a lot of SS classes in the game these days. I still think that the hero deserves to be up there as well. Decent mobbing, short cooldown invincibility frames and useful debuffs, and of course amazing bossing. It's It's a straightforward class which isn't all that amazing at mobbing compared to most other SS classes, but still in a way better spot than it was, and of course its boss damage is almost unmatched. Just a great pick as a main or bossing mule. I'm putting Wind Archer in S. Great mobbing once you hit 5th job, fun to look at, even though I do think the skill visuals are a bit too bright compared to before the remaster. This is one of the few classes that I actually liked more visually before the remaster than after. They have unique mobility and a great shield that makes bossing a walk in the park. I'm using this class as a bossing mule, and when the shield is up it's like paladin levels of easy bossing, just more green. Another A class is Adele. Solid damage, good mobility, a little bit of micromanagement with some of her skills, which also, by the way, are some of the prettiest skills in the game, at least in my opinion. All the swords flying around is just so satisfying. She used to be really overpowered when she was released and has been tuned down since, but ever since she's been quite stable. I think she's in quite a good spot at the moment. Not many changes for her. Beast Tamer is going into B tier. Unlike her goofy appearance, this class is not that easy to build up as a bossing mule or main. There are a lot of little things that you can do to make this class better, like getting additional skill levels from decent combat orders and from the Leave for Familiar badge. Her bossing rotations require you to swap between multiple animals, and she has a ton of skills to boost with nodes. Her mobbing is super fun though, with Hawk mode, and she has some really fun boss interactions. For example, she can use one of the bear skills to suck a boss monster towards you. It's a unique class with some very interesting gimmicks and mechanics, but in my opinion you should only create it if it really interests you, and of course for the Legion effect and Link skill. I'm putting Buck in SS tier. This class is just super solid, has great passives, super easy mobbing once you're Lord of the Deep 5th job skill one-shots. The bossing is great as well, very straightforward. This class went from so-so to top 10 most played classes in a year, and it's just in a really good spot right now. Next up in S tier is the Marksman. Solid class with way better mobbing than before. They have their own personal teleporter like the Bowmaster and can dish out a mean amount of damage. Their grinding and bossing is not as lazy as Bowmaster, but they can easily hold their own. Super strong bossing mule and easy to fund as well, and a decent grinder. Let's do another S. I'm also adding Luminous in there. Insane mobbing and solid bossing. His mobbing can get very lazy now that you can lock his light and dark mode. It's a surprisingly strong bosser as well, not that difficult to play. Get this class to level 210 for the level 3 Link skill and you might fall in love with it. I'm putting Dark Knight in A tier. They have a solid mix of survivability and damage, and they are in a good spot. They're more of a DPM class with short cooldown high damage skills, and they have a ton of lifesteal which makes bossing pretty easy. Their nodes also are not that hard to get. They do love buff duration and cooldown reduction. It's a solid class, I just think that there are a lot of other classes that just slightly outperform him, like the Dawn Warrior and Bowmaster. Another A tier is my current hyperburning character, Kane. He got a ton of buffs with the Savior update and is in a really good spot right now. His mobbing is not bad, but he really shines at deleting boss monsters. This class has great mobility. When he dashes, he even goes into Dark Side, which is unique. But he is a bit more tedious to play due to having to manually empower his attacks all the time. But they are super solid at the moment. Kaiser, when transformed, is an easy S tier. When he isn't though, I'm putting Kaiser in B tier. Even though he's gotten nice improvements over the year, he still doesn't really make a good impression in grinding or bossing wise, at least for me. He's amazing when he's transformed, but in my opinion, playing Kaiser will only feel amazing half the time. Unless if you like dragons and swords, then he's always amazing. Another B tier is Kinesis. He's got a new 5th job skill, this update, that boosts his stats even more and heals him. He's a pretty amazing mobber and I really enjoyed grinding on this class. I was quite surprised by that, it's pretty fun. His bossing still feels clunky. It still isn't the class that I would recommend as a bossing mule, for example. So personally, I would only play this class if you really like the playstyle. Another SS tier is Shadower. Amazing grinding, check. Amazing bossing, check. Finding more mesos than any other class due to your passives, check. It's a pretty crazy class who can dish out a ton of damage. They have great mobility, but you will need to press 2 buttons instead of 1 when you're both bossing and grinding for meso explosion. But that's the only downside of this class really, they are in an amazing spot. Fire Poison Mage also goes into S tier. I still think too many people are sleeping on this class. Great bossing, amazing mobbing, lots of damage. Just the downside that it needs a bit of funding before it really starts to feel amazing. It has a unique playstyle which not everyone may like, and quite a few buttons to press when you're bossing because you have so many skills. And it got slightly nerfed in Savior, but still it's an absolute force to be reckoned with. I'm putting Ilium in A tier. This class is super powerful, but not that many Maplers seem to enjoy his playstyle. Controlling the battery to fire off your attacks is something that requires practice. He doesn't need that many nodes though, and might surprise you as a bossing mule. His mobbing also absolutely amazing. It's a solid class with a unique playstyle that not that many players will enjoy. Another A-lister is the Corsair. Her mobbing got nerfed a little bit this update, but she can get her burst off easier now when bossing. You need to manage her summons, which can be a little bit more work when bossing compared to other classes. She is powerful and she will definitely rank even higher when the Reboot monster balance change happens with the New Age update later this year. Right now her summons need a lot of boosting before they are great to train with. It's definitely better in the regular server. I would say this list is mostly based on Reboot. If I was playing in a regular server, both Mechanic and Corsair would probably rank a little bit higher. B is for Battle Mage. They nerfed Battle Mage, man. Similar to Phantom, this class is super powerful in Maplestory Korea, so she's getting more nerfs than buffs. Her support is amazing with her auras and she can dish out some mean damage. Not that much though. Her teleporting is absolutely amazing and it's a pretty fun class to grind with. It's very chill, but like most classes in B, I wouldn't recommend her as a bossing mule unless you really want to party up with others or if you just want to use this class as a grinder. Even then though, there are better options out there. Blaze Desert also starts with a B, so in B tier she goes. Blaze Deserts have a really good supportive skill and their grinding is not too bad either, but it hasn't a simple and straightforward playstyle. Most Maplers find their main mobbing skill quite lackluster, plus she got slightly nerfed this update due to the same nerf that every mage got, which was totally uncalled for. I'm putting Cannoneer in A tier, but barely. Mobbing with this class is super fun. It starts off slow, but after 5th job this class is just really fun to play as. Bossing is a bit interesting because your bullets are always traveling, so in some boss fights your bullets might not get off all their hits. Same with their summon type skills. It's by no means a bad class, but it gets outshined by almost everyone else. Except for the mobbing maybe, which is pretty crazy once your 5th job skills are up. Angelic Buster has the same issue I feel like. Even though she's supposed to shine more than everyone else, I feel like she's struggling for relevancy. Not because she is weak, but just because everyone else has gotten so much stronger and flashier. She's hard hitting, but in my opinion her performance gets outshined by other classes, that's why I'm putting her in B tier. Blaster is going into A. She got some really nice changes with the Savior update, making her a bit easier to play now that Revolving Cannon is a passive. She has great survivability and mobility, plus all the damage you can ask for. The only thing holding her back are your hands. You need to master this class before it really starts to shine, and this is one of the most button intense classes in the game, so tread carefully. The final SS tier is Hoyoung. I was quite surprised by the amount of buffs this class got this update. They already were great mobbers and great bossers, they were S tier before this update, and now they're even stronger. There is just nothing that this class can't do. Amazing mobbing, amazing bossing, a little bit of skill management, but nothing too crazy compared to what you get in return. One of my biggest doubts this list was where to put Zero, but I'm gonna put them in A. After all the recent buffs, I feel like they're in a really good spot. They did lose a little bit of their mobility with a change to Burst Tap a while back, but gained a lot of damage over the last year and a half, getting slightly stronger again in the Savior update. They are a combo heavy class and they're probably in the best spot they have ever been. I'm putting Demon Avenger in B, and literally, like I just said, Demon Avengers are also in the best spot they have ever been. Or maybe not, depending on if you liked that time when they had no cooldown on their shields. But I feel like they get outshined by a lot of other classes in terms of both damage and survivability. Their mobbing also isn't super sexy, still the class is performing way better than before. So if you do think an HP based class is something for you, check him out. Thunderbreaker, my dear. Even after the Night of Cygnus revamp, this class didn't gain a lot of popularity. Their playstyle is, at least in my opinion, super fun. You're really fast and can really zoom through the map. Try it out, it's super addictive, but also quite tiring to grind on for a long time. And their bossing is a bit lackluster, I'd say. There are just easier, less intense classes to pick that can take care of bosses even faster, so because of that, the Thunderbreaker just drops off on the list. For Xenon, I really need to dig deep. Thankfully, there are some very helpful videos out there of Xenon mains that understand the class a lot better than I do. They require a few more nodes before they really start to shine, and they have to manage to summon their hologram fields. They have a unique stat mechanic where they use strength, dex and luck. Their unique builds, summons, hidden mechanics and high node requirement just don't make them very popular, so I put them in B tier. But no worries, Xenon mains, I'm gonna put you in SS tier once 6th job gets released. You got the coolest skill out there. Hayato finally got his nodes fixed, but it doesn't save him from B tier. In my opinion, he's just too much work for a bossing mule. His mobbing is pretty crazy if you can cycle through his big screen attacks. Their mobility and micro stunts are great too, but they feel pretty weak outdated, and just require too much work compared to most other classes. And the final B class is Kanna. If you love being a support class but don't like Bishop, you can make a Kanna. Their support is insanely good as well. The downside compared to Bishop is that Kanna's damage got heavily nerfed, so while she's great as a party bosser, she won't perform that well as a solo bossing mule. She has a unique visual style that is pretty cool, so if you like that, then definitely go for it. Strong Kannas can still solo the Black Mage, it just takes a bit longer compared to a year ago. I think the current state of the Maplestory class balance is pretty good, with every class being viable, which is amazing, and everyone is in a way better spot than they were 2 years ago, except for the Kanna class, I guess. Some classes, especially those in B tier, could use newer animations, more damage, or skill reworks in my opinion. Again, everyone is viable, I just think that these classes get outperformed by the other ones. And that's all for today. Which class would you rank different? Let me know in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, special thanks to our members for making these videos possible. Special thanks to Niels de Coninck, Raar maar waar, Sebastian Hanoy, Jesus Rodriguez, Claudie Mora, Wiley, Riser Are BackSpaceOTI, Ziggy Deer, Historycanon, Saffronyx, Flidiot, Knifesu, Cloudfix, Tito655, Michael Manchaka, Rathius, Afterlord, Betrayal 1489, Silvio Nato, Striker Elk, Tidal 1 Pun, Victor Sundstrom, Mathias Simonsson, Mr. Anark, Ben on Games, The Passenger, Kani Wu, Max Bernhardt, Muka 1017, BNB King, Scotty Flies Fast, Gabriel Eck, Feko, Vake Botnet, Dante Victory, Mathinu Dev, Snack HBG, Only, Lord Fazil, Spots D. Kaiser, That Archie Guy, Louis Bento Brandao, Snufflepop, Tails Curspet, The Wolf Drake, Gaber Wolf, and Pretty Big Bang Best Guild Luna. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay safe and happy mapling.